Hey, y'all. So, this is going to be an unpopular opinion chat, right? Because I have found out in the past couple months that pregnancy is such a hot button issue, right? Everyone has an opinion about what you're doing, whether it is how you're going to feed your child, right? I've always heard that fed is best, right? Don't let your kid go hungry. That's very illegal. But, you hear, no, you have to breastfeed and you have to do it this way and for this amount of time. Or if you're going to do formula, it should be this brand of formula for this amount of time. I mean, I've heard some people say, like, don't swaddle your child, which is where you kind of bundle them up like a bug in a rug, you shouldn't do that. And I've heard other people saying, how could you not swaddle? How will your kid sleep? I mean, there are such polarizing opinions and so many different ones. And honestly, as an older mom, this is my fourth child, but this is my first to carry, there's so many things that are different from just when I was raising, my 3-year-old, before. And even things like what ultrasounds look like. We went to go get an ultrasound last week, and I remember when they were just like gray and white blurry blobs from the side, and now you can see full facial features. Y'all, I was in tears when I was looking at our little one's nose and the shape of their lips and their chin, and I just could not believe how far we've come. So it's just interesting to me that there is such a polarizing opinion about how someone else raises their baby. One, because people seem so heavily concerned about a person you don't know for a child you don't know and how they're being raised in a situation that has nothing to do with you, right? Like that is just what has happened to us, right? It used to be just the moms. Now it's everybody, right? So there's that part. But then also really surprised because with all the technological advances and all the things that we know now that we didn't know before, you can really get a lot of things right that we just didn't have access to. Even our formulas overall are better formulas than they used to be. I'm pretty sure back in the day, there was like lead and arsenic in that stuff, okay? Like I was growing up where, you got your meds, you got your medications, but you just slap some Vicks on it, a little, and for my Latin American people, a little Viva Porub, right? And that was what you did to keep it moving, right? So knowing that was how it used to be, no matter what a mom is deciding, odds are it's in their interest and it's in the child's interest, it's in the mom's interest, and it's probably better, right? So as I'm trying to navigate, the impending arrival of our little, I've really been reflecting as I feel increasingly pregnant, So for those of you who are just catching up, I am in my 3rd trimester formally. I'm African, so y'all not gonna know the actual time frames. So we got to keep stuff secret. We can't be telling you exactly the details, because, my mom will say, you can't tell anyone, if you tell them exactly what is going on, they can do witchcraft. They will send you a cast. Your child will come out missing 4 fingers, 2 toes, and only have 1 eye. And that is how you know. They went and took bones into the backyard, buried them, ate 4 mangoes, and now your child will never read. Like that is literally the energy, right? That will happen if I tell too many details, like the delivery date. So that said, please excuse sounding a little vague, but that is what it is. So that said, I'm in my 3rd trimester. And I feel pregnant. You know what I mean? Like aside from all of the things that I'm supposed to be responsible for, right? Figuring out a nursery, figuring out, what is it? A birth plan, a baby registry, baby showers. Like there's all these things that people do right now. Just my own body feels pregnant. And here's where I'm going to hold a lot of you responsible. Okay. You guys are my internet aunties. You check in. We have been in this thing for a while together. Y'all did not tell me what this would be like. Okay. Caveat disclaimer. I love this baby. Let me just say this before y'all come for me. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the honor and privilege of carrying. I know it is something people want and desire, and this journey has been just a miracle and by every definition. And anytime I think about, I'm emotional, obviously. Anytime I think about this little one grabbing my finger or watching them walk across the room or anything like that, I am just tears. It's just such a blessing. I also do not like being pregnant. And that is the point of this chat today is I want to send this out to all the mamas who have not ever been affirmed in that way because it's not considered popular opinion, right? I think the journey is worthy. I know the blessing of children. it's why I have a 25, 22, 13-year-old, was all the way done. And I decided to start this journey over. In 10th grade, I wrote an essay that when they said, what makes you you? In 10th grade, I wrote down, I think I'm going to be a mom because I just really love kids. Now, I don't know who that girl was. Okay, in 10th grade, I have not met her, not familiar with her, right? I love my baby specifically, and I have an international auntie vibe. Like I am the person that people just hand kids to, and I get along and I love them. But I'm like in 10th grade, not I love children. Like what is, who says that, but that is the reality, right? Is like, I do know that momming is something for me, but carrying children, not my ministry. Not my ministry. And I'm finding when I talk to more women about this experience, particularly ones who have some recollection of third trimester, that's like a pretty common assessment. A lot of women say like, this is hard and it's difficult and there's so many aspects to it. So one of the first things, and so that's part of the shout out, right? I think in a society that it feels often like women are reduced to what our reproductive capability is in the world, right? We're often synthesized down to how we appear, what we offer in terms of our value to society monetarily, like how we show up and our worth is directly correlated to what we do for others, right? Or how we have created, whether it is through business or money or wealth or people. I just want to extend for those of you who are either on this journey or who are, have tried to have children or are considering, there's, a whole generation right now that is really grappling with whether or not they want to have families or grow families because of various economic or socioeconomic situation, climate change, all the things. They're saying like, do I really want to, be responsible for a child in this world? I just want to let you know that it is very okay if it's something you don't want to do simply because you don't want to put your body through it. Like it can be that simple, just not wanting to. And as someone who has raised children that were still wanted, they're like, and you guys know the story of my girls and adopting them, and their mother is still very much in their life. And she absolutely loves and wants her children, just, but I've had to witness the complications of having multiple children and not being well equipped mentally, economically, support wise, addiction wise, and seen the output of that and stepped in to support it. I can tell you right now, there is something to be said for those considerations. And even with those things aside, if you simply say, I don't want to put my body through it, like you're allowed. Pregnancy is not a natural state of being. You have to become pregnant, right? So this idea of people saying like, oh, it's natural, right, to go through the process of pregnancy, meaning our bodies know what to do by God's design. And we thank him for that because Lord knows this would not be complete if it was not already on autopilot. I'll tell you that right now, I'm a mess. I can barely remember where I am and who I am on any given day. If I had to actively be responsible for checklisting, did you make the kidneys? This child would not have kidneys. Okay. So we thank you, Lord, for autopilot, right? But it isn't a natural state of being, meaning you have to become pregnant. So knowing that it's something you have to choose and or put yourself through, I can see someone saying they don't want to do it. When I look at celebrities and the fact that they delegate their pregnancies, I get it. Let me tell you some of the reasons why. One, a surrogacy process and using a gestational carrier to carry what is still your biological material through a pregnancy term of 9 months. We look at someone like Kim Kardashian, right? She carried her first child. And after that, for various physical reasons, as well as maybe personal ones, possibly economic ones, she decided she didn't want to do it again. And that is her choice, and it is nobody's business, and there's no working any way around that. It is no one's business. You can have an opinion on it, but it's still not your business, right? So that being said, she decided to use a gestational carrier for, I think, 3 more children, if I have the count right. Them Kardashians love to procreate. They have a lot. They are a football team. They run tight as a clan. And I would tell you, honestly, if I had... their mother is like a marketing genius, just an aside. If I had the ability to monetize my children the way that Mama K does, I would probably keep procreating too, because every single one of them kids that comes out is like probably another million off the taxes annual, in addition to, an additional ROI, right? Like, it's bananas. So, it's actually probably a good decision to keep on having them, 4 on average each. But that said, she decided to delegate the other 4. And that makes sense to me, because mathematically, if you're telling me that she has 9 months in a year, her average income per month, let's say, is 30 million. Let's just 30 million between interest, products, stock options, whatever. You're telling me that the good sis is supposed to reduce her workload? Because one thing that's true about pregnancy, doesn't matter who you are, one thing that is true about pregnancy is we do not get to escape the journey of what it is on your body. It is like the great equalizer. I don't care if you are a bajillionaire or if you only make $1 and you are sitting at home. Your body will be going through pain, round ligament pain, stretch marks. You're going to go through, I just learned about this thing, in earmuffs for the littles called lightning in your lady bits will be the language I'll use. But basically it's when your little one inside you decides to flip upside down and beat your bits from the inside as if you owe them money. Okay. It is shocking. It stops you in your tracks. It steals your breath. And I know I haven't even hit the worst of it, right? I know that there's more to come, but no matter what, it's kind of humbling to know that I'm going through this and so did Kim Kardashian. You know what I mean? I'm going through this and so did any woman that you've ever met. They all understand what I'm talking about. Some of you right now are nodding your heads because you're like, girl, I will never forget, right? So knowing that she still has to face that same set of issues, it is literally a strong and smart economic decision for her, that future child, and her existing babies to say, look, I'd like to grow my family, but it is not smart for me to use my body this way. Me being off the grid for 9 months, coping and dealing with these symptoms, in order to bring a life in when I can still have that same life and not do this and be able to show up for my businesses, maintain my body and physical health without recovery, because we all know pregnancy is not just the 9 months, it's also the 2 to 3 years after to bounce back. I mean, it literally will affect her income because she is not going to be able to produce, financially for a certain amount of time. And she can have the plastic surgeons and the trainers and all of the dietitians and the chefs and all that, but it doesn't change that when you run the numbers on it, to pay someone 50 to 100K or whatever she pays per kid, that the math is mathing on it, And so when you think about it in that practical way, I know for some of you that may feel a little cold, or that may feel a little like, but the magic of motherhood and all that. Like, she did it once, she understands what it is, and she opted out of it for the next 3. I get that. I just really get that. And I know that, again, unpopular opinion, some women, it's true. Some women love pregnancy. They say, like, it's why some people are gestational carriers. They just love the process. Maybe those hormones hit differently. Listen, I don't like Mediterranean food. Okay. Yeah, like what stuffed grape leaves, goat cheese. It's not for me, right? It just has never hit right. Like, I just don't know why. Like, I can do a pita, love some hummus, but as a rule, if we're going out for, Lebanese or Greek or whatever, it's not going to be for me, right? Like, pick anything else. Understand that I can appreciate very much that some women love pregnancy. We cannot ignore the fact that it is a daunting and dedicated task on our bodies. And it is something that shouldn't be taken lightly if you decide to do it. Now, this isn't me dissuading people from it. Again, I'm really glad that I did this. Like, I am. Like, it's been a worthy experience. I am thankful for my relationship. It has been just so beautiful for us to make something together with my husband. It is something unique that I get to share with this one other person. My husband is like my partner in creation, and it's a binding that I think is, I think I've said it. I don't know if I've said it here before. Maybe I've just said it to, friends, but my husband's such a good person, and I am so grateful to know him. And when I tell you, he is the type of person who should be a father. Like, if people are going to be out here having babies, a child from him is a plus to this world. Like it is a value add. He is good genetic material to continue, and I say that like as objectively as I could. I mean, I'm his wife, obviously, but he is a good person who will raise a good child. And his parents are too, like they raise a really incredible son and his parents are really great people. And just knowing that, like, it really does feel like I'm so glad I never had a kid with anyone else because like, it feels like such a privilege. Like basically, like as much as I joke about some of his bad habits, because once you start having a kid, you joke like stuff like that. I'm like, every time this little one acts out, like that's your kid. You know what I mean? Like those things oh man, this little one better not be hyped because that's your kid, But outside of those things, like if this one has a stubborn mouth and issues with authority and it's just very difficult, that's me. I'll claim it. I'll put it on record. That came from me because he is so emotionally intelligent and kind and all those things. I'm like, I just really hope that, our newbie reflects those behaviors. But that said, it feels like a privilege. It really feels like a privilege to be able to like mix genetic material with this person. So on that level, really incredible. And then there are the moments where I'm sitting on the couch and I watch my belly move, or times where I think of, especially now, reflecting back on those early weeks where you have a little bit more anxiety about where this is going to go. And, it's that coupled with like morning sickness, and you see your bump growing and, and you're just kind of like in awe of what you're able to do as a woman. I don't know where I would learn what this is like. It's so wildly unique that there's nothing like it. It's indescribable what it's like to feel your body going through these changes. And like, there's a whole skeleton inside me that just appeared out of stuff. Like I've created a being that will walk this earth of my cells. What? Like, it's just wild, right? It's just wild. And then also having, already been a mom, right? And maybe that's part of why I'm kind of like, maybe a little bit more of a chill mom is I already know what they turn into, right? Like I already know what 13 is going to look like. I know what 18 is going to look like. I know what 25 is going to look like. So maybe that's why I'm a little more chill about it. But knowing what they turn into and being excited about seeing this person become their own independent version, like starting within me, but then developing into their own ideas, because all my girls are really different and all of them have strong opinions and, they all have their own personalities. And just knowing that I get to see this journey from true beginning to that. I'm trying not to get like cry about it, hormones, but like, it's just, there's something just absolutely magical. And then the last part of it that I think really does make pregnancy incredibly unique and special, and the part that I'm just so thankful for is my connection with other women. I mean, there is a wildly unifying thing of being able to see another woman on the street and they see you kind of grab your back, or, you'll say something like, I'm so sorry, I'm pregnant. Please bring out the butter for dipping. I do not need utensils. Like you'll say something like that and you'll be like, I know what I'm saying sounds crazy. And they'll look at you with an understanding saying, yes, I brought you 4 butters, ma'am. You know what I mean? Like, it's like this unspoken language of crazy that everyone understands. And it's just a connection, and even talking to y'all about it here and going on and asking about, certain pieces of advice or talking about delivery, like I just learned about that with epidurals that they wear off. Obviously I knew they wore off, but I didn't realize that they wore off. Like basically they get you through contractions, but they don't necessarily always get you through pushing. Like you're going to feel something potentially. And I'm over here like, these are the things we say up front. You know what I mean? I wish I'd known this before I went in, or after birth contractions, that there's no second epidural for those. So you're telling me I'm going to have to finish the whole process, but then I get to go through the process again to remove the placenta. Like, this is not even real. Like there are just so many things, and women just knowingly nod their head saying like, you'll make it through, girl. You'll get it. Like you'll be okay. It's just a really beautiful connection that I don't think I would even know how to foster that. And within that, understanding the strength of a woman, right? Understanding the strength of a woman is something that I just really have been floored. It's affected my coaching. It's affected my consulting. It's affected how I advise female business owners. Transparently, I push a little bit harder because I'm aware of what we're actually capable of. And when I say I push harder, I mean, I definitely show more ease in certain areas because my understanding of that journey really helps me like when a woman says I'm recovering, from something, I really do know that they understand like pressure, right? They understand what's hard, but I also can push a little harder if they say, I don't know if I can do it. I'm like, if you gave birth, can't nobody tell you nothing. Like nothing. When I say nothing, like this process of delivery, giving birth and creating life is literally why men shouldn't even say anything to us about what we're capable of ever. They should be terrified of us. They shouldn't spell our name wrong on a Starbucks cup. It's Nicole, no H. Okay. Like because of what we're capable of doing. And if they knew for a minute what we did, they wouldn't even play with us. Do you know what I mean? Because it's really magical stuff. So, and I say all that before delivery. I'm like, I don't even know. I feel like I'm going to be a force once this is done because I'm blown away with what my body can handle and survive. So I say all of this to say, I'm just giving you two perspectives, right? It is possible to love this journey. It is possible to have thanks for it, right? And be grateful and recognize that what you're doing is worthy. But you're also allowed and permitted to say that maybe pregnancy isn't for you. Maybe you didn't enjoy it. Maybe it was unpleasant. And that doesn't mean you are less of a woman or less of a mother. Because in life, it's going to be a little bit of A and a little bit of B, but I guarantee you that nothing is missing.